5 Scary underwater mysteries that will freak you out. The waters of the world are a mysterious place. More men have been on the moon than to the deepest parts of our oceans. They remain the most intriguing place on Earth, teeming with fascinating things we just only understand. Some of the ocean's mysteries are fascinating, some are terrifying. From Shicheng to underwater photosynthesis, these are 5 scary underwater mysteries that will freak you out. Before we begin, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos every day. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Shicheng, the underwater city of China. Originally, this mysterious city was located in Zhejiang, in eastern province of China. One day, it suddenly disappeared. We've all lost things. I have no idea where my house keys are right now, and am being forced to record the audio for this video into my phone as I walk around the local park. But often, when we lose something, it turns up again. It turns up in a slightly logical place. So, my missing keys will probably just be in the pocket of the jacket I've not worn in a few days, or down the back of the couch. But when the city of Shicheng went missing, it turned up underwater. Obviously, flooding is the answer. An overwhelming amount of water would have dragged Shicheng down to the depths of the ocean. But what's so mysterious is just how undamaged Shicheng seems to be. You'd think that a city being battered by a flood would tear it to pieces. Just look at news footage of any flood or tsunami. The effects are devastating. But in the case of Shicheng, the whole place seems to have been picked up and dropped into the water. Almost like God ripped the city up from its roots and casually placed it under the ocean, nice and delicately. It is difficult to believe, but even after more than 50 years, the wooden beams and stairs of the city remain perfectly intact. Despite being flooded, the oceans are oddly kind to the city. At present, Shicheng remains well preserved and undisturbed, at a depth of 26 to 40 meters, 85 to 131 feet. Remarkable. Truly remarkable and baffling. And until we have more answers, just a wee bit terrifying. Time for the star topic. Here's an underwater mystery that will freak you out. This photo right here, caught by a diving crew located in Guatemala, is something that has left my spine chilling for days. And yes, my back is still rusty. This just doesn't look normal though. Is there an actual sea creature with the looks of a mummy? Or is this the paranormal existence of our oceans? This is something I just need to know your opinion on, so make sure to comment down below with the hashtag #StarTopic, and we will pin the comment that best explains what is being shown in this image. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 4. The underwater Stonehenge of Michigan. We all know Stonehenge. It's one of the most iconic and infamous mystery stone structures in the world. But did you know there is another very similar structure in the world that's come to be known as the underwater Stonehenge? If you didn't, you're about to learn about it, and if you did, sorry for wasting your time. In 2007, Mark Hawley, a professor of underwater archaeology, which is the Indiana Jones spin-off the nation deserves, and his colleague Brian Abbott stumbled upon a rather mysterious and spooky site located about 12 meters below Lake Michigan's surface. Naturally, they decided to get to work, and what they discovered baffled them beyond belief. As they continued to examine, they stumbled upon a colossal carving of a mastodon. To clarify, it's a carving of a mastodon, not a carving of Mastodon the band. As cool as it would have been, Professor Hawley didn't find carvings of Bran Daler, Brent Hines, Bill Killier, and Torrey Sanders down there. It's of course believable that giant rocks would naturally be underwater, but for one to be so beautifully and painstakingly carved? Now, I don't want to be judgmental of our underwater brothers, but I don't think fish are carving beautiful images into stone. Therein lies the mystery. Who carved this Stonehenge-style mastodon replica, and what is it doing submerged so deeply underwater? They found many boulders clustered together, and only one appeared to have imagery carved into it. The boulder with markings is 3.5 to 4 feet high and about 5 feet long. Photos show a surface with numerous fissures. Some may be natural, while others appear to be of human origin, but those forming what could be a petroglyph stood out. Specialists shown pictures of the boulder holding the mastodon markings have asked for more evidence before confirming the markings are an ancient petroglyph. But it seems highly probable that what we may be looking at here are ancient, maybe even prehistoric markings. If found to be true, the wannabe petroglyph could be as much as 10,000 years old, coincident with the post-Ice Age presence of both humans and mastodons in the upper Midwest. But that's only if it is proven to be what they think it is. As of right now, these ancient underwater images are something of a mystery. Who knows? Maybe this is just the world's first ever emoji. Or maybe somebody with a decent diving kit carved it relatively recently for a laugh. Who's to say? Number 3. Upsweep. Many of the ocean's most fascinating mysteries are actually audio-based. All sorts of strange sounds emanate from the depths of the seas. We've covered a few of them on this channel, and as something of a music nerd and an audiophile, hence why you always hear my voice but never see my face, the strange noises of the world are some of my favorite mysteries to dissect and explore, and there is no underwater noise as mysterious and freaky as the now legendary upsweep. The NOAA listens to sounds from oceans all over the world. Most have been identified, but the sound known as the upsweep remains elusive. Upsweep is a few seconds of narrow-band upsweeping sounds. Upsweep is an unidentified sound detected on the American NOAA's Equatorial Autonomous Hydrophone Arrays. This sound was present when the Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory began recording its Sound Surveillance System, SOSUS, in August 1991. It consists of a long train of narrow-band upsweeping sounds of several seconds in duration each. The source level is high enough to be recorded throughout the Pacific. The sound appears to be seasonal, generally reaching peaks in spring and autumn, but it is unclear whether this is due to changes in the source or seasonal changes in the propagation environment. The source can be roughly located at 54 degrees south, 140 degrees west, near the location of inferred volcanic seismicity, but the origin of the sound is unresolved. The overall source level has been declining since 1991, but the sounds can still be detected on NOAA's Equatorial Autonomous Hydrophone Arrays. We remain as confused as ever as to what might be causing it. Take a listen for yourself and see if you can figure it out. So, what do you think? Underwater monsters screaming for help? Or maybe roaring at each other as they fight? Is this the rumbling of a secret underwater civilization? Or perhaps it's Cthulhu himself calling out to us? What do you think? Terrifying or nothing to be worried about? Number 2. Heraklion, the lost city of Egypt. Xizang is far from the only city to have been lost to the many oceans of the world. The Egyptian city of Heraklion also went the way of Atlantis and now sits under the water. Discovered by French archaeologist Frank Godoyan back in 2000, it is located 6.5 kilometers from the coastline of Egypt at a depth of 50 meters. Legend says that Helen of Troy and Greek hero Hercules visited the city, and it was named after Hercules. We remain unsure as to how the city found itself down there, hanging with Ariel and Sebastian. Heraklion is mentioned by many chroniclers of antiquity, including Herodotus, Strabo, and Diodorus. The city was said by Herodotus to have been visited by Paris and Helen of Troy before the Trojan War began. They sought refuge there on their flight from the jealous Menelaus, but were rebuffed by Thonis, the watchman at the entrance to the Nile. Heraklion was originally built on some adjoining islands on the Nile Delta. It was intersected by canals with a number of harbors and anchorages. Its wharves, temples, and tower houses were linked by ferries, bridges, and pontoons. The city was an emporion, which means trading port, and in the late period of ancient Egypt was the country's main port for international trade and collection of taxes. It had a sister city, Naucratis, which was another trading port, lying 72 kilometers, 45 miles further up the Nile. Goods were transferred inland via Naucratis, or they were transported via the western lake and through a water channel to the nearby town of Canopus for onward distribution. As you can tell, it was a bustling hive of activity to rival any of history's greatest cities, but not anymore. Now, it has sadly gone the way of the fishes, and much like Xizang, we don't quite know how or why. Up to this day, scientists have carried out thorough research and raised priceless archaeological finds to the surface, a bit like how constant exploration of the Titanic causes us to find all new priceless artifacts. But in the case of Heraklion, there's a whole city's worth of treasure, not just a single boat. Number 1. Deep water photosynthesis. Now, to first understand deep water photosynthesis, we need to understand the regular kind. For all of you who aren't experts in plants, photosynthesis is a process used by plants and other organisms to convert light energy into chemical energy that can later be released to fuel the organism's activities. This chemical energy is stored in carbohydrate molecules, such as sugars, which are synthesized from carbon dioxide and water. Although photosynthesis is performed differently by different species, the process always begins when energy from light is absorbed by proteins called reaction centers that contain green chlorophyll pigments. In plants, these proteins are held inside organelles called chloroplasts, which are most abundant in leaf cells, while in bacteria they are embedded in the plasma membrane. In these light-dependent reactions, some energy is used to strip electrons from suitable substances, such as water, producing oxygen gas. So, why am I rambling on and on about photosynthesis in a video that is supposed to be about underwater mysteries? I'll tell you why. Because despite the lack of light down in our darkest waters, photosynthesis still somehow works underwater. The way land plants perform photosynthesis does not help the organisms living in the oceans, which cover nearly 70% of our Earth. Plants in the oceans face problems with light availability. There may be no sunlight at the bottom of the ocean, but some bacteria near hydrothermal vents use the vent's dim red glow to photosynthesize and produce food for themselves. Scientists are still trying to figure out how it's all possible. It defies everything we know about how photosynthesis is supposed to work. Without easy access to light, how exactly is deep water photosynthesis happening? We just don't know. It's like if you were to eat nothing for 2 weeks but still gain weight. It's like if you were in the middle of the desert but somehow drowned. It shouldn't be possible. A vital ingredient is missing, yet somehow it works. Which of these underwater mysteries do you find the most intriguing and baffling? And do you think you can figure out how underwater photosynthesis is possible? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen now. See you next time!